G'day guys, it's Jim, and in this video we're going to be talking about the Elder God Wars saga. It's reaching its final quest, which is Extinction, and I've been asked by Jagex to bring you guys all up to speed, because let's face it, there's a lot going on. So, for all of my spacebar annihilators out there and my lost lorehounds, here is the Elder God Wars saga, TLDR. Too long, didn't read. First, let's start with the Elder Gods. The Elder Gods created everything in the universe as we know it today, and they're the main antagonist of this storyline. Now, the Elder Gods do this thing called the Great Revision. Essentially what they do is they come into the universe, they create all of the life which makes them tired, so they go into a slumber, but while they're in their slumber they plant their eggs inside the planet with the most life. Now, everything in the universe has anima. It's anima mundi, it's the energy life force of the universe. Now, these eggs that they plant inside the planet, they plant it inside the planet. I apologize. But anyway, inside the planet, they siphon all of the anima from the living creatures on that planet and they grow, they recharge. Now, this is where the story gets a bit juicy. See, the Elder Gods wake up and they touch the egg. They implant their memories in it. It's kind of like reincarnation. Now, when the eggs hatch, the Elder Gods eat everything in the universe. And guess what? The next Great Revision is happening right now, which leads us to the new quest coming out, Extinction, and I'm going to tell you the story of how we got there. Now, I'm going to have to assume that you guys know a little bit of the lore up until the Elder God Wars saga. So we start at the end of Sliske's endgame. Zaros and Seren have gone to speak to Jazz, and they've asked about Zaros becoming an Elder God. Now, unfortunately, Zaros got declined here. Jazz basically just shut him up and said no. But then Jazz pulled us aside and said, "Hey, World Guardian, come over here, I've got something to tell you." Obviously not like that, because it's freaking God. Anyway, she says, "You can stop this from happening if you can appease us." And she just left it at that, real cryptic. So that leads us to the event of Desperate Times. Seren goes and gathers all of the best and brightest GIELINOR has to offer, and they come up with the plan of appeasing Bick with a garden. Look, Bick's into gardens, and I get that, but I think there's something we could be doing a little bit more productive than building a garden. Obviously, this idea is a bit stupid, and KERAPAC appears to save the day. That was sarcasm. Anyway, KERAPAC appears after freeing himself from the Stone of Jazz using the mirror in Sliske's endgame, and he says, "Hey, why don't we use an Elder artifact? That's a great idea. They used one on me, let's use one on them." I mean, I can't argue with his reasoning, he's got a point. So the plan is to use the Needle, which is another Elder artifact that we encounter in the Needle skips, to essentially put the Elder Gods to sleep, because if they're asleep, well, they can't touch their eggs, right? So we get to the Needle, and it turns out we need a special necklace that can activate the Needle for us, and this can only come from the one and only Karos. However, the thing is with Karos is that he likes to keep his identity hidden. So after a line of puzzles, we eventually find out that Reldo from the Varrock library is none other than Karos himself. Freaking epic reveal. I honestly, my jaw hit the ground. Wow. Anyway, he ends up making us the necklace, and we're able to go into the Needle. After going through a series of chambers such as Guthix, where he died, spoiler, to the Citadel in the sky that Sliske was at, and finally out into the Dragonkin laboratory, we are then able to take control of the Needle. Jim, you don't sound too happy about that. Well, the plan kind of failed, because KERAPAC ended up turning on us, stabbing the Needle with the Staff of Armadil, and flying off east. Yep, Seren's gonna be pissed. So, yeah, we back to square one. That garden idea is starting to look pretty damn good. You know what they say, right? Desperate times call for desperate measures. This is where the story shifts from us trying to stop the Elder Gods to trying to stop KERAPAC. You see, KERAPAC'S plan is to use the device that he created a long time ago on ANACHRONIA when it was previously known as ORTHEN. This is the same device that got him banished and cursed to the Stone of Jazz in the first place. However, this machine is able to create shadow anima. Where anima mundi is the life force of the universe, shadow anima is the opposite. It takes life from the universe. And that includes the Elder Gods. So when he activates the device, it will suck all of the life from the planet, then killing the eggs and the Elder Gods as well as everyone else on GIELINOR, but saving the universe. So it is a righteous sacrifice play. But I kind of want to live, and so does everyone else. We're greedy like that. It's GIELINOR. It's here where the term "the enemy of my enemy is my friend" is used, because we use the council with Seren to get a hold of Jazz and say, "Jazz, can you help us out with this KERAPAC'S situation? If you die, we die, so we're gonna have to work together on this one." Jazz agrees and suggests that she can't directly intervene because of the shadow anima, but she can give us an elder artifact, which is the Eye of Jazz. She says if we can get close enough to the Needle and KERAPAC, this eye should separate them long enough for Jazz to take control. With the Eye of Jazz, we went to ANACHRONIA. However, this was a new version brought forward in time by KERAPAC, where Karos then presented the measure. I guess that's why it's called Desperate Measures. Also, while on this quest, Hannibus lets us see the memories of the dragonkin that inhabited ANACHRONIA a long time ago, and what led to them being bound to the Stone of Jazz. Once we entered the lab, we shut down the device and we also killed the Guardian, which was the Blackstone Dragon. This led to KERAPAC confronting us, where we used the Eye of Jazz to take over control of the Needle. This also meant that Jazz was in control of the Nodon Dragonkin, who were asleep in their pods, so now Jazz had an army. KERAPAC pleaded for us to end his life, however Jazz enslaved him to her servitude once again, a fate worse than death. And as that conversation ended, the laboratory started shaking uncontrollably and things were falling apart everywhere because the Elder God Full had finally awakened due to the shadow anima seeping from the device. Full emerged from the volcano, destroying the laboratory and announcing the start of the Elder God Wars. Due to KERAPAC'S device being active, this led to the awakening of RAKSHA, the Shadow Colossus. Now, RAKSHA is a very special specimen. RAKSHA was originally a dinosaur that was existent a long time ago, but then was changed and altered by the Codex, the monolith, the same thing that is at the Archaeology Guild. That is an elder artifact. After finding RAKSHA's tomb, we enter inside and ZAROS appears out of nowhere to take a vat of shadow anima. Now this disturbance wakes up RAKSHA and we have to subdue him. After seeing how the Elder Gods reacted to KERAPAC'S device, ZAROS now knows that the Elder Gods have a weakness, so he takes it with him as protection. With the release of archaeology also came the discovery of KHARID-ET, a ZAROSIAN prison. After uncovering the mystery inside, the World Guardian found Trindine, a forgotten ZAROSIAN Majorat. Upon meeting her for the first time, she describes us as having a shadow similar to Sliske, or the Master of Shadows. With Trindine free, ANACHRONIA, another ZAROSIAN Majorat, gives us the task of finding the Elder God eggs. He has a suspicion that these are the true threat to GIELINOR and not the Elder Gods themselves. He believes that when the young Elder Gods hatch, they will then consume everything that's on the planet, thus destroying the whole universe. So we head out to RuneScape with our buddy old pal ANACHRONIA and we look for the Elder Halls. Now RuneScape is the planet that was like GIELINOR but for the last revision. After finding the Elder Halls, we are then followed by Ariane, who then says that she can read the memories of past. So after Ariane reads the memory, she does confirm that the true threat to GIELINOR is these eggs and we need to find them on our home planet GIELINOR. The crown on Saradomin's head is also called the Locator. It's an elder artifact that can locate divine energy basically. So we go to ask Saradomin if we can use it. He said that he's already tried to use it to locate the elder eggs and it failed. However, we just don't think he's using it the right way, so Trindine and the World Guardian go off on an adventure to try and sneak into places to get information on the crown. Now, everywhere we go, we do have to vouch for Trindine because she's a ZAROSIAN, and there's a reason for that. We return to ANACHRONIA to tell him what happened, but Ariane is knocked out on the ground. When she comes to, she informs us that she knows where the Elder Eggs are kept on GIELINOR, and it's in the heart of GIELINOR. That makes sense. As we reach the heart of GIELINOR, it is blocked by Helwyr and Seren's elves. Now, out of nowhere, Gregorovic comes to save the day and distracts Helwyr for us, and while doing that, calls us Master. Now, Gregorovic's Master is Sliske, so this is the second time someone has called us Sliske by accident. With Helwyr out of the way, we were now free to enter the Elder Halls, and inside was in fact the new Elder God eggs. ANACHRONIA leaves to go and inform ZAROS what had happened, but then the voices in her head says that maybe Trindine wasn't telling us the whole truth, and that's because we were betrayed once again. Just like KERAPAC, we were betrayed again by this time Trindine and ANACHRONIA because they were working for ZAROS, and ZAROS didn't want to let us know on this plan because he has ulterior motives for the crown. So we have to rush back to Saradomin and inform him, but they beat us there, and it turns out that the White Knights and Temple Knights, some of them, not all of them, were actually undercover ZAROSIANs. That's insane. ZAROS then appears to take the crown from Saradomin, saying that he is the true owner of the crown, and basically snaps his finger and takes it away from him. That is some crazy just energy right there, just to snap your fingers and do that to Saradomin. Wow. We return to KHARID-ET to confront Azanadra, and we're like, mate, what happened? I thought we were BFFs forever. And Azanadra's like, listen, my boss says that I've got to do this, so it is what it is. Please don't have a grudge against me. And at the Battle of the Monolith, we're going to be enemies, so don't take it to heart. Over the weeks, the battle rages on with the White Knights, Temple Knights, the Zarosians, the Tok'ar, all getting involved in the conflict. That is until ZAROS appears to end the fighting and take over the monolith himself. Seren also appears to confront ZAROS, but ultimately lets him use his plan. This is where things go absolutely crazy, is that ZAROS activates the monolith and it turns into a freaking portal. And look, I'm not exactly sure where that thing goes, but we got a shard of Erebus, so I'm going to assume Erebus, which is supposedly the Zarosian afterlife. As ZAROS goes inside, he says that he's going to look for others like the Elder God, but of something else. He instructs Azanadra to lead the army while he's in his absence. As ZAROS goes through the portal, some shadow creatures start coming out of it, and the conflict turns from everyone fighting against each other to with each other to rid themselves of these weird shadow creatures. And because ZAROS has now left this plane of existence to go to Erebus, it means that his compulsion over Azanadra has faded, which means that Azanadra now has free will for the first time to make his own decisions. And what does he do with that decision? He decides to make the freaking sacrifice play. He decides to close the monolith alone using his own shadow powers, and ultimately this transforms him and unlocks his inner deity to ascend to godhood and become Pontifex Maximus the God. Damn, that's a cool name. Due to the shadow anima that came out of the monolith, the eggs were now overloaded and we needed to drain them somehow. While in the Elder Halls, Azanadra appears and he wants to make amends for betraying us earlier. He suggests that we can steal the eggs and hide them in an old city called SENTISTEN, which, lucky for us, the archaeologists have been busy at work while we've been fighting each other because they found it. But before we move the eggs, we need to set the city up. Although we've found a place to hide the eggs, we still needed to drain them of their energy. For this, we asked the gods. After some tense negotiations, we finally got Saradomin, Armadil, Zamorak, and Seren to help us drain the eggs. We also asked Icthlorin, but he said that he would never help the Zarosians after what they've done. There's a lot of bad blood. I mean, even the fate of the entire universe ending, and he can't put that to the side, but he did say he would help in other ways and go looking in the underworld. So with Azanadra, we head to the city of SENTISTEN and we start uncovering the city. He informs us that this city was one of the last remaining strongholds during the Second Age War, and that this city has its own defense system, a magical barrier that we have to activate. He goes on to explain that the ancient magics that they use actually comes from somewhere else and probably uses shadow anima rather than regular anima to use. Because of this reason, the barrier should stop the Elder Gods themselves from attacking, forcing them to send in their own armies. One by one, as each of the wards go up, each god then teleports to the citadel ready to drain the eggs. With the defenses in place, KERAPAC appears as a mouthpiece for Jazz, saying that the attack is about to begin. The first front of the God Wars is the Noden front. Now, the Nodens were dragonkins that slept through the curse in order to avoid the pain. However, they were tied to the needle, so now they're awakened and they're Jazz's army. The general for this army is none other than KERAPAC himself, wielding the Staff of Armadil and connected to the needle. After holding out the fight against KERAPAC in the Noden front, Wen then sends in the Arc Glacials. With the help of Azanadra, we were able to put down the Arc Glacials and hold them back, which led to the third front, which was led by Bic. Bic managed to find a long-thought extinct plant that was buried deep under the city of SENTISTEN. She brought it back to life, and unlike the other generals, this one here took a bunch of people working together to take down. With all three sides defended, Full finally entered the battle with her champion Zook. Now, Zook had gone toe-to-toe with Bandos in the past, meaning that this was by far the most challenging battle for the World Guardian to date. After taking care of the generals, a massive earthquake then struck GIELINOR over in KHARID. Where the Jewel Arena previously was now stood HETS Oasis. And as I mentioned before, Icthlorin went to go find his own way to save the universe. He believes there is a long hidden ancient item here called the Eye of Het. He asks us to help clear the debris for the civilians and then look for the Eye of Het inside the tomb. However, after taking down the security for the tomb, we've noticed that someone has been here previously and tried to take the eye but failed. After obtaining the Eye of Het, Icthlorin goes on to explain that this device can then bring back willing souls from the dead, essentially giving you an immortal army. We then go and investigate what actually caused the earthquake in the first place and who was snooping around. After talking to a stranger who says that the AWAKENS were seen flying over, thus leading to Armadillo, we actually look inside a chest and find a note that's written in ZAROSIAN. After taking the note to Azanadra, he says that it looks like Trindine's writing, but it looks like someone trying to fake Trindine's writing. We question all of the gods about their motives, and then eventually Trindine appears, who lures us over to a corner so that we can talk alone. Once again, she comments on our shadow, saying that it's like an aura and it's very reminiscent of Sliske, so that is now 3 Sliske references. She goes on to say, hey, remember that I tricked you in the past. I don't leave loose ends laying around, so it clearly wasn't me. After hearing all of the gods' pleas, we then make our accusation, and no matter who you choose, it ultimately ends up being Zamorak. He explains that Seren was trying to use the Eye of Het to force them to stay there forever. Basically in a Groundhog Day situation where they live, they die, they live, they die, and they repeat the same day over and over again for eternity. Which ultimately Zamorak says, I would rather die than to do that forever. Seren admits that this was her plan the whole time, and then Zamorak takes the Eye of Het, he breaks it, and then he disappears. With only Seren, Armadillo, and Saradomin left, there is not enough gods to drain the egg's energy. Icthroin once again won't help the Zarosians, and he says that he's going to return to the underworld to say his final goodbyes and prepare for the end. This just leaves Armadillo, Saradomin, and Seren. Azanadra can't help drain the eggs because he's busy on the glacial front. And with that, we are up to Extinction. Now, I can't tell you guys what Extinction is because it's not even out yet at the time I'm recording this, but I am super excited to play it. If you guys are super excited to play it, let me know in the comments down below. I have a theory that this might involve Zaros and his little plan in the monolith. I think that's where we're heading with this because we have no other plan other than to just sit there and basically wait for the Elder Gods at this stage. But nevertheless, it was super awesome to make this video for you. Thank you so much to RuneScape and Jagex for allowing me to make this video, condense it into this short time frame. It was originally meant to be 10 minutes, but hey, when you've got an epic story like this one, sometimes it takes a little bit longer because you have to go into finer detail. So if you guys enjoyed this video, subscribe to the RuneScape main channel, and if you guys want to check me out, you can find me at LaserShark over on YouTube. But without further ado, my name is Jim, and I'll frickin' see you later.